All right, so dear Sagittarius, this one's for you. There you are. There's Tarot Illumination, Love and Relationship Mini Report for May 2018. You know, it's just generic. It's a story. So watch for your sun, moon, and rising, whatever they are. If they're all different, mix them up. You know, retell the story just to suit you. Reinterpret to suit yourselves. Cards are already well shuffled in advance. But I like to go to the last second so that you're a witness. And then we're just going to pull it out and tell the story. We're going to use the crucible spread on the understanding that there's you, Sagittarius, a significant other, and then the third entity, which is the relationship itself, which has a life energy of its own. Not you, not the other, but the relationship itself, which needs to be understood and respected and played into and nurtured and invested, because it is the relationship itself that holds the people together. A lot of people, of course, they relate one-on-one as though it's just them and it's just you. And what can I get out of you? Well, what are you trying to get out of me? The reality is, in a healthy thing, it's a determined, chosen relationship where it's like, hi, what can I bring to you? Hi, oh, that's good. Thanks for offering. Well, I was going to ask, what can I bring to you? Well, let's sort this out. Let's form a relationship, which is a structure. The crucible is a structure that, like in a really good, strong relationship, the crucible is a structure that can endure intense pressures as we intimate and separate, okay? As happens in all relationships. In other words, you know, it isn't just as soon as you got married or hitched up or living together, everything's going to be great now. Well, all that happens is you've just started a new chapter. So let me get into some notes here before we get into the spread. This is my little notes for you, Sagittarius, for May 2018. Now, the big event here is May 15th, the big opening of the doorway for Uranus into Taurus for the next 7 years. That's in your house of health and habits and day-to-day activities, chores, work practices, and spirituality, of course, in the opposition here. You might feel it there too. So it's not directly on love and relationship, but here we are at the full moon right at the end of May, May 29th. You might feel the pressure more and more towards the end of the month because the sun is going to enter Gemini, which is your full opposition, okay? Whether you're watching sun, moon, or rising here, whether you're Sag sun, Sag moon, Sag rising, you're going to feel this to some degree, the energy of full opposition, and especially around May 29th, when the moon is in Sagittarius, you might have this kind of these awakenings, these realization, these culminations about what is actually happening in my love life. More than that, in my most significant relationship, above and beyond romance. I'm talking about a formal committed bond. So just heads up. That's all it is. We're just giving you a bit of a heads up, all right, Sagittarius? So it's towards the end of the month where things might really come into full light for you. We'll see. Okay? Cards are shuffled in advance. We're going to the last second. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. Sorry, none of that. Cards are beautiful the way they're made. And we're going to use the crucible spread. You'll see in a moment. Here we go. All right. Let's cut it up. All right, this is going to be the energy that you're radiating. Imagine that you're always pulsing and radiating energy, even in the context of love and relationship, whether you know it or not. And this would be the energy of a significant other that they would be radiating in the context of a loving relationship. Now, if you're single, some people still watch these reports. It's built for couples, but if you take the laws of attraction to the limit, on the understanding that you're always radiating and eventually you will attract, then you could think of the other, potential other, as what if. In other words, who or what would you attract in the context of a loving relationship, given where you are right now, Sagittarius? What if, okay? So this would be you, this would be the other. This is deep at the soul level of you, deep at the soul level of the other, and the core itself of the relationship, okay? Now, these would be the prospects, the momentum going forward. So this is the crucible itself, as you can see. This is the structure in which the relationship exists and the dynamics occur, where you can intimate and separate, hopefully in a healthy, loving way. We'll see. We're going to look at the weather at the moment. circumstantial energy, and you're going to make the best of it. You have the Strength card here. To me, this is an indication that you might be getting really stretched to your limits, especially by the end of the month, where you come to this sort of awakening period where you realize, oh my gosh, I wish somebody had told me about this stuff beforehand, because the shifts are going to happen anyway, okay? There's kind of no way out of it. It's just a question of what are you, Sagittarius, going to do with it. And you could take all the other swirlings and shenanigans going on here in the planets, but in terms of love and relationships, specifically anything that pertains to like a marriage type structure where it's one-on-one, you, first house energy, seventh house energy of the significant other, it's going to come to a culmination here right at the end of the month. So this might be a very strange month for you. It's just how it is. So just allow for that. And it might feel as though you're being pressurized to rise above the Sagittarius that you know right now in your full strength and your full glory, and then being, you know how they say this card is like being tamed? Like take the egoic part of yourself and realizing that there's a whole other journey ahead starting, and it requires having to tap into the most spiritual aspects of your ways and beings that you've never done before, okay? Taking it to the next level, let's put it that way. So it's kind of like an oh gulp moment. Like what's actually going on? Let's have a look at you. Okay, well, you're getting what you deserve. With the Justice card here, my feeling is that you might have planned for this all along. Maybe you kind of knew this time period was coming where you were going to be called out, and like there's no way to escape. Like the lights are full on you with the sun and the moon, full lights on your first and seventh house there. There's kind of nowhere to hide. And so whatever happens is what happens. And it's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just what is. Justice will be served. In other words, if you have been living a life of poor decisions on top of poor decisions, and everything turns to doo-doo by the end of the month, and you're starting to realize, oh gosh, this is a mess. I wish I had looked at things from a higher perspective, from a more, let's say, spiritualized context of love and relationship, as opposed to the more, let's say, animalistic side, then things might be turning out in a different way. If things turn out to be really kind of cool, then you can say to yourself, wow, I must have been doing something right. I'm not exactly sure what, but at least there's evidence there. So the thing is, to me, it feels like it's a time of reckoning, whereas the circumstantial energy is going to be squeezing you like just notch by notch by notch by notch, squeezing you tighter, tighter, tighter into a position where you have to face facts, you have to face reality, that relationship dynamics going forward from the end of May onwards are going to require you to have to operate from higher frequencies in terms of your perspectives, your truth, and where the journey is going, okay? And there's no way out of it. It's the same pressure for everybody, but you're going to feel it face on. That's what I'm saying here. So what about the significant other? Okay, with the Four of Cups here, my feeling is that this is going to sound pretty awful. I don't mean to hurt your feelings, Sagittarius, but to me, it feels like they're caught in a trap that is not of their own making. Like, there's you. Remember, Sag, this is your reading, all about you. And if you want to, you can just think of this as a significant other, and they have their own, they can get their own tarot illumination reading if you want. But for now, this is all about you. So it would be about you in relationship with a significant other who may appear to you to be kind of bogged down in the coulda, woulda, shoulda, like, oh my gosh. Like if you're in a loving relationship or semi-loving relationship, and you're realizing that part of it is really coming unglued, and justly so. And if you're realizing that other parts of it are doing really well, and justly so, the chances are, like a lot of people, we often gravitate towards the lowest frequency vibration because it's the easiest thing to do. Like, Oh gosh, if only that. Oh, if only he'd done this. If only she had done that, then it wouldn't be blah, 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 the mess we're in now. Or you could be feeling the same thing towards them because you're seeing the reflection of you back to yourself from a significant other. So you could be saying exactly the same thing, like, dang, I wish I hadn't screwed up with blah, blah, blah in terms of this loving relationship. Or if you wanted to, you could say, wow, I did such a great job. Look at me. The thing is that it's going to be possibly the most challenging aspects that are going to become evident, because that's what typically happens on the full moons, is that the things that weren't working are going to come to light, and you'll feel it. So in the significant other here, if you guys are kind of stuck in a sort of swirly vortex where it feels as though it's kind of fated, with the arcanas here, strength and justice, it might feel as though you're being swept into this funnel towards the end of May where you're seeing everything justly portrayed to you as it is, for better or for worse, okay? And from their perspective, it might be like, oh gosh, the worst. However, it's still full of love here, okay? So it might just be that the most challenging aspects of the relationship are coming to the surface and taking full dominance over everything, making itself very, very apparent. Because you can't keep going on with blinders. You have to deal with the stuff that's not working and figure it out. And right now, it's like they're becoming aware of everything that's not working, despite the love that might be there. The thing is, their attention, whenever I see the card, I always get the feeling of attention flows, energy flows where attention goes. Let me say that again. Energy flows where attention goes. And if your significant other has all their energy focused on the past and what if and coulda, woulda, shoulda, it makes it very hard to appreciate the love you guys have in the moment. Okay? So it's a bit of a juggling match. And so your perceptions of happiness and love in relationship may be very contingent on where their attention is focused. Like if they're focusing all their attention on what's not working, that can feel really yucky for you. If, however, they choose to refocus their attention onto the love and what does work, then that can help you out. But you are not them and they are not you. So in some ways, you're kind of at the mercy of their behavior right now. And well, that happens in relationship. So let's just hope that they can come out of that funk and start to focus on the love that's actually there. And then you can be more empowered to do something. Because at the moment, it feels a little bit like you're hijacked by the moods of the other. Okay? Let's have a look deep inside of you. Okay, well, with the Queen of Wands here, my feeling is that you, Sagittarius, at the soul level, have every intention to make the best out of this, some way, somehow, in a way that almost like the pressure of everything that's not working is inspiring you to rise up to your better self, which would be very nicely in alignment with the energy here that is being shown to you from the universe around you. In other words, however bad things might be between you guys, you can always look at it as an opportunity to improve, because you're exposing anything and everything that's not working, and it's coming to you, Sagittarius, in the reflection from a significant other. That's a gift. Okay? Treat that as a gift, and it puts you in a position where, like, oh my gosh, yes, I see what their Illumination's talking about. This is my moment to rise up and be my most awesome self and look at it for everything, our love and our life and relationship, from a higher perspective, and be the inspiration. In other words, you, Sagittarius, maybe you have been slacking off. Maybe whatever is going wrong is, a lot of it might be laid on your shoulders, and maybe now it's your time to rise up and shine and get back into the groove again, and like be the inspiration to yourself, to the other, and to the relationship itself. Like, let's salvage this thing, okay? But that has to come from you. That's coming from you, Sagittarius. It's like, okay, sweetheart, I can see you're kind of in the doldrums about things and us, but don't worry. I, Sagittarius, I'm going to take the responsibility here, and look at this from the higher perspective and put my best efforts into figuring this out, okay? And then they say, oh gosh, thank you so much. I was hoping you'd say something like that because I'm really in a funk right now. I know it's not your fault and it's not really my fault. I'm just in a funk, and I would love it if you would take charge of this and be your normal, wonderful, inspiring, amazing self. Please, 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 please. That's what they're saying over here. So let's have a look at them, okay? All right. To me, it feels that deep down they have a bit of an axe to grind. Like they might, you know how sometimes couples, they always try to maintain the sweetness and the kindness and the love to the point where it's almost a facade, to the point where if you keep burying and burying and burying everything that's not working, then that becomes toxic after a while. And my feeling over here, Sagittarius, is you might be dealing with a significant other who has been behaving that way a little bit, because deep down it feels here they're like, you know what? Now that you've asked me, now that you've actually decided to step up and be your most courageous, awesome self, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you that if it wasn't for this, 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 and this, and this, then we wouldn't be in this, and this mess. Okay? And I am going to declare my truth and how it is. That's what I want to do. That's how it has to be for me. The thing is, for you, Sagittarius, is that this to me feels like it's very much smoldering deep under the surface, and it's not being expressed openly, honestly, and truthfully in the moment, as would happen in a very, very clear and open relationship. So in other words, their discontent might be their own issues, their own problems. Like it's nothing to do with you, but they might be blaming it on you. Like if the whole relationship sucks, and you're doing the best you can, and they are acting as though they're doing the best they can, but the reality is they're just all wound up in their misery and woe is me, and they're actually looking for a way to blame all the problems in the relationship on you, then that might be what they are doing. And that leaves you kind of at the mercy, again, of their moods, which puts you in a position of having to rise up and be stronger, acknowledge this, recognize this as a gift, as their own, like a weakness in themselves. Like they're deep down, they want things to work. Otherwise, they wouldn't be having this vivid desire to express their truth in this way, even though it's repressed. I feel it's deep down and it's repressed. And it's like they might be scared of venting their truth because in case it might jeopardize the relationship. Like, you know, sometimes people bear grudges and things, smoldering grudges, but they pretend as though everything's all right. So they're sending out mixed signals, like an aura that's very, very mixed up. It makes it very hard for you, Sagittarius. Let's have a look at the core. Okay, well, let's not beat about the bush. With the Nine of Swords here, it might be, my feeling is this, as we get into it deeper and deeper and deeper into the month, all the mess, all the stresses and anxieties that are not working in the relationship are eventually just going to come to the surface, and they need to be known. It's going to put you in a position where you're going to have to be the strong one. You're going to have to be the inspiration, take it on your shoulders, and see this as an opportunity for you to rise up to a more spiritual perspective of the relationship, and for you to be forgiving enough on your significant other where you don't have to retaliate or try to dump it back on them as though everything that's wrong is their fault. But you don't have to take everything as wrong as your fault. All that's happening here is that the flaws are being exposed. And the flaws belong to both of you. The relationship is a joint property. It's like having a joint bank account. It isn't just all about you. It isn't just all about them. It is a joint venture. Okay? That's why they have these words: joint, merger, marriage. It's when it's a binary situation where two entities become one. This is the single entity here, the relationship itself. And as you can see, the relationship is loaded up with stressors that are coming to the surface now. So how are we going to deal with that? The Star. Okay, well, there's obviously hope here. So that's nice. But it does indicate, to me, it indicates here with the Star is that you're going to have to lean very heavily on the spirituality. In other words, prayer, might be very appropriate for you guys right now. Prayer and looking outwards and above and beyond yourselves and each other and the relationship, and almost looking for divine guidance, okay? However you guys want to do that. You can get a private tarot reading. You can get in this, you can go places to get astrology readings. You can get couples counseling or whatever it is. But it looks like, from my perspective here, is that by the end of this May, you guys are going to be very much more aware of what is not working in your love life, in your significant relationship. And that's going to be it's going to become very clear. It's like you can have a shopping list of everything that's wrong that needs to be fixed. It's like taking your car into a tune-up place and saying, we have problems, and it's more than we can do on our own. We can't even change the oil on our own. We need professional help here. We're trusting in divine guidance. We know that, let's say, we know that there is a higher purpose for who we are, what we're doing, how we're doing it, and why we're doing it. We just don't understand what it is yet. And there's no point in assigning blame here for whatever is going wrong, okay? It's a joint venture, so it needs to be treated as a couple, okay? You need to treat this as a couple, and it looks like you're going to have to take charge of getting this fixed, okay, Sagittarius? Because it seems to me that they're not in a place already able to do that or initiate that on their own. It looks to me like you, Sagittarius, are going to have to be the leader here. Take charge. Understand that there is a higher meaning, higher purpose to your love life and your relationship, and deliberately figure out what it is, and not just get sucked into, one of those tit for tat type of situations where everything that's wrong is being blamed on the other, and they refuse to accept that, so they blame it all on you, and then everything just turns to doo-doo. This is just the opposite here. To me, it looks like you have the opportunity to turn garbage into gold, basically deeply transformational, and it can be very, very healing for both of you, okay? It just might be very uncomfortable as you come to the moments of awakening about everything that's wrong. But the thing is, once you know what things are, what they are, what's wrong, then you have a chance to fix them. That's the beauty. That's what happens in the crucible, okay? You intimate, you separate. You intimate, you separate till you find out all the love that's there. But in a loving relationship, you're going to experience the best and the worst of each other and the relationship itself. So the relationship might have bottomed out at this point, but that just gives you a chance to say, well, the only way we can go from here is up, okay? You are guided, you are protected. You are truly guided, you are truly protected. You just have to be aware of that, know that, and understand that, accept that, bring that in by invocation. You are guided, you are protected. Just say it to yourself, I am guided, I am protected. Say it even together. We are guided, we are protected. Please, dear heavenly angels, guide us and protect us in our relationship. We're kind of screwed up right now. We need help. Thank you very much. Got it? Thank you, Sag. All the best.